Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
I'm Marylou.
And in studio with us we have Leonardo. And Leonardo, if somebody needed to contact us, what would they need to do?
For math, homework, help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357. Everywhere else, 1-866-636-6284. Email dothemath@kern.org. We're online at dothemathonline.net and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, nicely done. So, how are you feeling today?
Good?
Good. I'm feeling pretty good myself too. How was school?
Good?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything really good about it today, or? Nah, just a regular day?
Yeah.
Well, where do you go to school and what grade are you in?
I'm in 5th grade and I go to Highgate Elementary School.
All right. So yesterday we had one of your classmates on, I believe Nathan was he's in your class, right?
Yeah.
So pretty cool that you guys are from the same class and you guys are on back-to-back days.
Yeah.
So he said that there was nothing he would change about Highgate. Is there anything you would like to see at Highgate that's not there right now, or something a little different?
I wouldn't change anything. Like, the school's cool.
You like it the way it is?
Yeah.
All right. And so he went to a different school before, and obviously you did too.
Yeah.
So where did you attend before this?
I went to Buena Vista Elementary School.
Okay. And had you been at Buena Vista for a long time?
I started there in 2nd grade.
Okay. So you were pretty used to Buena Vista.
Yeah.
Were you excited about going to a new school, or did you want to stay at your old school? Or was it kind of mixed?
Yeah, mixed.
Kind of mixed? Yeah, because like I'm comfortable at Buena Vista, right? I've been there for a while, but
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to go to a new school, right? Nobody's been there before.
Yeah.
You're the first class in there. All right. So you've been working on fractions right now in class, correct?
Yes.
Well, why don't you head on over to the board and explain to Marylou in a moment or so just some basic things you know about fractions at this point. So you don't have to do any problems.
Okay.
But you can put up an example for Marylou and just talk about fractions in a general way right now.
Okay.
So share with me what you're writing.
I'm writing 2/3.
Okay. Kind of tell me a little bit more about that 2/3.
So 2/3, it's like, so it's almost 1, because if it's 3/3, that equals 1, and 2/3 is like almost 1.
And what do the numbers on the top and the numbers on the bottom, what are those called?
The top number is called a numerator, and the bottom number is called a denominator.
Okay. And do you understand what that denominator represents?
Yeah.
What does it represent?
Like how much it's like that 3 represents.
Can you show it to me in a drawing? Can you make like some kind of drawing, like maybe a box, 3 boxes?
Okay. So
So you have 3 boxes, right?
Yeah.
And does this represent your total for your denominator?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when there's 2, you have to fill in 2, 2, and there's 1/3 left of 2, 3, third.
Oh, so there's 1/3 left over.
Yeah.
And then like you were just saying, that if you have 3 over 3, if we that would represent
1.
the full
Yeah,
1.
the full.
Very interesting. Anything else? What else do you know about fractions?
About fractions, if they're not the same, you can't add them up.
So what is that called? That you have to find a common what?
Unlike denominators.
Yeah, you're right. They're
Yeah.
unlike denominators, but we're going to find a common denominator to
Okay.
add up. Anything else that comes to your mind about fractions?
No.
No, that's it.
Well, that's a good
Okay.
start because he's just
Yeah.
starting it in 5th grade
He
right
is.
now. And we'll get to those unlike denominators in a little bit, but a
Nicely
fantastic
done.
start right there, Leonardo.
Put that there. and get it on.
636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. And you're a sports fan?
Yeah.
You like sports?
Yeah.
What's your favorite sport to either play or watch?
Soccer.
Soccer. So you like to play it? I think, Marylou, that's your favorite
Oh,
sport
that is
also?
my sport too. Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? In the United States, you guys call that game soccer.
Yeah.
In other parts of the world, they call
Football.
it football. So we're going to
Football.
take a look at a different kind of football in today's Math in the News. All right. Now, in the United States, when I say football, you guys think of something other than soccer, correct?
Yes.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
so, football teams, the NFL, National Football League, stuff like that. The end of the season is coming up right now, the last week of the regular season, and then playoffs will be happening. And this is from a game that happened in December. So the LA Chargers were playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you guys familiar with either of those
Yes.
teams?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a preference on either one of those teams?
No.
Packers.
Who?
No, they're not either of those teams, but
Well,
I
let's
just have
hear
to
it.
give a shout out to my Packers.
The Packers. There you go. You got the buzzer on that. That's not even from me. They gave you the buzzer on the Packers right there. Hey, you know what? That's funny. They're the #1 seed also
Yes,
in the
they
NFC.
are. Yes, they are.
Not like my New York Giants, which will be having a high draft pick again this year because they, whoa, easy with the buzzer back there now. Anyway, so these two teams were playing. And are you familiar with the sport of football, like first down, second down? A
Yeah.
little bit like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So on 4th down, okay, it's 4th down, and you have 1 yard to go, and you're at the goal line.
Okay.
Okay? So it's 4th down and 1. You can either go for it and get a touchdown, or you can not go for it and kick a field goal.
Okay.
Which one would you do you think?
Field goal.
Why would you do the field goal?
Because I'm good at kicking.
You're good at kicking, all right. Now let's say you're the coach of the team and you don't kick or anything, but you have to make a decision.
Okay.
Would you still go for the field goal or would you go for the touchdown? You have to tell your players to do something.
Touchdown.
Go for the touchdown now.
Yeah.
Why would you have them do that?
Because they have a better chance at doing a touchdown than me because I don't play football.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's take a look and see what the numbers have to say, right? So, Marylou, what would you do?
4th and 1. And how much time is on the clock?
It's the end of the first half. You're
Oh,
up by
I-
4 points.
I would kick. I
You
would
would
kick
kick.
it, yeah. Because if it was the end of the game, that would be different. I would kick it.
Okay, well, here we go. It was 4th down, goal to go. They're on the 1 yard line. LA is leading Kansas City 14-10. So they're up by 4 points. And they've got the ball on the 1 yard line. So the coach has to make a decision. Do I go for the touchdown or do I kick the field goal? All right. So an ESPN analytics writer tweeted out that the numbers gave LA a 59.7% chance of getting the touchdown and a 98.4% shot at making the field goal. So obviously the percent is higher for the field goal, all right? But went on to talk about the math behind the decision using simple multiplication. A touchdown is worth 6.95 points on average, okay? Because they're not always 7 points,
Yeah.
because sometimes you miss the field
Miss
goal,
field
the
goal.
extra point, right? And the field goal is always worth 3. So there's a little graph right here that we're going to take a look at. So it says you're up 4 points. It's 4th and 1 from the 1 yard line. Okay, it's the last play of the half. Now, if you go for it, the probability of you winning the game, okay, 65% if you're going for the touchdown, 63% with a field goal. Now, the success, right, if you're going for a field goal, you have a 99% chance of making it from there, right? With only a 60% chance if you go for the touchdown, okay? Now, but the odds are higher if you go for the touchdown if you're winning the game,
Wow.
right? Because you're going to get more points. Now, the percent of you winning, if you fail, is exactly the same. And if you succeed, you can see is higher going for that touchdown to win the game, right? It's 73% as opposed to 63%, all right? So just doing a little bit, this is the math they have. So when the people go, oh, they didn't get any points, they went for it on 4th down, and they didn't even get the 3 points from the field goal. The math behind it says you should have gone for the touchdown anyway, because
Wow.
the analytics show that's what would prove to be a more successful outcome of winning the game in the first place. But anyway, another way that you can use math in kind of coaching decisions, and it also has to do with, you know, the momentum of the game, who might be in, did somebody get hurt, things like that.
Did
But
they,
anyway,
did they end up going for that? Or which did they end up doing?
I don't even remember. It doesn't have on here what they did. I just went with the math part, and I didn't even watch the game, so I didn't really care. But once again, we were just worried about the mathematics behind
Yep.
the whole thing.
And that is really quite interesting.
And here's something for you to watch, because during the playoffs and even the last week of the season, there will be teams, especially trying to get into the playoffs this weekend, that may have to go for it on 4th down. And instead of kicking a field goal, they may try to get the yard or score the touchdown. And the analytics will go, yeah, you should go for it on 4th down. Because otherwise, even if it's just going for it on 4th as opposed to punting,
Yes,
right? The same kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay? But anyway, that is today's Math in the News. Did you know there was that much math
No.
in football with that? Just
No.
coming up with a decision, the analytics about do I go for it or not. So anyway. So, you didn't know about that math, but you do know about fractions.
Yeah.
All right, get on over to the board, young man. I'm going to have you work on a problem real quick. So erase what you've got up there. Do the X down below that. There
Oh.
you go.
There you go, that one.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and put your 2/3 up again, Leonardo. So we'll go 2/3 plus 2/4. So explain to Mary Lou what you would do in this case.
So to make it equivalent, you have to find the equivalent number.
So a common multiple.
Yeah. So to do that, the common multiple of 3, so the common multiple of 4 and 3 is 12.
And how did you get that?
So, because 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12.
Perfect.
So then it takes, so times 3. And then this one is times 4.
And one more time, can you explain why you have your times 3, which is correct here,
Yeah.
and your times 4 over there?
Because 4 times 3 is 12, and you get the same denominator.
Okay. Perfect. I'll let you keep going.
Equals 8 over 12. And this one right here equals 6 over 12.
So what's our next step?
You have to add them because there's a add symbol. So 8 plus 6 equals 14.
Before you write that out, can we pull both of these fractions underneath this? Kind of how you have 2/3 plus 2/4? Can you do your 8/12 plus 6/12 underneath there for us? Just so it's closer together and we can see that.
Equals 14/12.
Okay. And is this where you stop with this problem?
No, if you want to, you can make it a mixed number to do that. So how many times 12 can go to 14? It can go 1 time. So you get 1 whole, and the rest is 2/12.
And we keep our same denominator,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Can we go even further with this yet? Do you know?
No.
So let's look at this. This is correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
14/12. That's a correct answer. And this 1 2/12 is a correct answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's even one more problem that's correct. And you're going to be learning this real soon.
Okay.
2 and 12. Remember how you found a common multiple with these?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're actually going back and we're finding a factor. Does 2 go into 2? Can
Yeah.
I say 2 divided by 2?
Yeah.
Can I say 12 divided by 2?
Yes.
So this is called simplifying. Have you heard that word before, to simplify?
Yeah.
So here you saw you multiplied.
Yeah.
When we simplify, we're going backwards and we're dividing now. So 2 divided by 2 is what?
1.
Equals 1. And what's 12 divided by 2?
6.
So actually, you have your 14/12, which is a correct answer. You have your 1 2/12, which is a correct answer. And we have our 1, because we can't forget our 1, and 1/6. So you have actually 3 different answers that are all we call equivalent. And yes, it is 2/3 plus 2/4 can equal any of those because they're the same.
Yeah.
There you go.
Amazing,
Great
huh?
problem. 3 versions of the same answer right there. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We also have an opportunity to go out and about with a little bit of math in the real world.
All right, welcome out here to the Mojave Air and Spaceport. I'm here with Matt Nelson, Director of Operations here out at the Air and Spaceport. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good. It's a pleasure to be out here. Thanks for having us. We're up here in the control tower, and kind of what does a Director of Operations do here at an airport? And I know this isn't a typical airport, but what's your day-to-day like?
Sure. Well, thanks for asking that question. I would say that no 2 days are the same, and it's a very dynamic job in that you might have an airplane here that is a large airplane needing to land. You might have a rocket motor testing out to the north of us here. You might have some experimental airplanes flying. You might have to deal with an emergency. So that's why we have all these components and assets to provide safe and efficient operations of the airport. So I am tasked with helping out manage the tower here. We have security 24/7, which provide security and coverage for the assets here at the airport. I also help with the rescue and firefighting, the ARF trucks, our firefighters here. That can aid in assisting with any fires or emergencies here with the rocket motor testing, as well as the airplanes here that might have trouble.
Oh man, so, I mean, it sounds like you have your hand in a little bit of everything
A little
here
bit of
on the
everything
airport.
too, and then also we're a former military base here. This was a Marine Corps base during World War II.
Really? Okay, I don't think many people realize. I think when they drive by here, it's just always see a bunch of airplanes on the way to Vegas or to Bakersfield or in and out of the valley. I mean, most people, I had no idea this used to be a former military base. I mean, is that, kind of turning our direction now to these massive runways you guys have
Right.
out here? Are those runways here before this time? Like, were they put in specifically because it's now like an experimental air and spaceport, or were those here before during military use?
That's a great question. So we have, as you can see here, we've got basically 3 runways here, which gives you essentially 6 opportunities to land in different directions based on the wind direction. So essentially when you land an airplane or take off, you want to be most pointed into the wind. You really don't want to take off or land with a tailwind per se. So when we inherited this old airport from the military, it changed into East Kern County Airport District. And eventually we were able to change it into a spaceport. And because of that designation, we were able to receive some funding and extra dollars to increase the runway length. So now today our runway, if you look at this runway out here, we have a runway that's 12,500 feet long, which is very long for a general aviation airport. We don't have commercial flights that fly in here. Everything is general aviation / spaceport and research and development for aerospace and space aircraft.
Now, what designates an airport as a spaceport, and how many are there? Are you guys the only one? Are there a handful? Are they everywhere? I mean, what makes it a spaceport, and how rare is this?
Sure. Essentially, there are about 6 to 7 / 8 in the not too distant future of spaceports in the country. You'll see as you get older, talking now to the kids, that you'll see more and more spaceports come to fruition. This airport is one of the only inland spaceports in the United States. And so we don't do vertical launches per se, we do things called captive carry. So the rockets that go into space from the Mojave Air and Spaceport are basically on a sling or captively carried by a large jet such as a L-1011 or 747. And those large jets then will take off and fly that rocket over an uninhabited area and then pitch the nose up on the aircraft and then launch the jet up into space. So that's what makes us a spaceport and a captive carry spaceport. Again, it's a horizontal launch. We're not a vertical spaceport. And what's really interesting too is when that jet actually launches the rocket, they pitch up quite a bit, the nose does, of the jet, and the rocket then falls away, and then the jet will then aggressively bank over to the right or left to get away from the ascending rocket.
Wow. So it sounds like we have a lot to go and learn about the air and spaceport here here in Mojave. I mean, thanks again for having us. I mean, we're so excited to be here. It's something most people just drive by and they think, oh, it's just this big airport out in the middle of the desert. But you guys are, it sounds like ground zero for a lot of amazing things happening in aviation here in the 21st century, and especially with the reintroduction of space travel, but it sounds like more the private side of it. So we're excited to be here. And,
definitely. And one thing I want to share with you too is that our culture here is a freedom to try, freedom to fail. And so what I mean by that is that the Rutan brothers that started a lot of this mindset here of this freedom to try, freedom to fail, of really trying your best in school with your grades, and a lot of failures come before successes. And so that's why you need to study hard, work well in school, and also try hard in your job, and don't be afraid to fail multiple times, hundreds of times, thousands of times to get to that one success.
Perfect. Well, we'll see what we can find out here at the Air and Spaceport. Back to you guys in the studio, and we'll see what comes of this. See what we find.
All right, thanks for that, Mick, and great point, because I remember when we set this interview up with the Mojave Air and Spaceport, the freedom to try and the freedom to fail is a very, very important thing that they live by out there, and it is important in all aspects of life, especially for students working on new math concepts. Yes. You're not going to learn it the first time you do it. You need to be able to fail at it and understand what you're doing and then learn from that. Just like, so you play soccer, right? Did you know how to play soccer and were very good at it the first time you went on the soccer field?
No.
No, you had to practice it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with kids practicing musical instruments and things like that. They don't pick up the instrument and, you know, they're a prodigy, they've got it, and you know, you have to practice it. It's the same thing with mathematics and everything else in life, like they were talking about at the Air and Spaceport. They afford people there the opportunity to try, experiment, give things other shots, fail, and then build upon those failures to come up with things that we never even thought were going to be possible that are commonplace these days.
I saw the greatest saying today, there are no losers, there's only learners.
Right. There you go.
Yep.
Always an opportunity to learn. All right, young man, you ready to do some more learning?
Yeah.
All right, over to the board there, big guy, let's go. So you looked as though you had a pretty good grasp of adding fractions.
Yeah.
How are you with subtracting?
Good?
Good?
Kinda.
Oh, there we go. So now we've got something to work on. All right, Mary Lou, I will let you come up with a problem for Leonardo to work on for subtraction.
Okay, you ready? Let's do 24 over 32. And let's subtract that from 3/4. So, what do you think?
Oh, this is quite a problem you gave me.
Did I? Well, let's think. So the first thing you should be thinking about, does the smaller number go into the larger denominator? Does 4 go into 32?
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
And how many times does 4 go into 32? You know what? Can we change this to a 2?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I look at that problem, I was like, well, here you go.
I'm going to
But-
change this real quick to a 2. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. There we go. So does 4 go into 32?
Yeah.
Okay, it does. So 32, we don't need to change this fraction at all, do we?
No.
But do we need to change 2 over 4?
Yeah.
We do. Okay, can you change that to me so it's equivalent to a 32 as a denominator? What are we going to times that by?
8.
Yeah, perfect. Because we know 8 times 4 is 32, right?
Equals 16 over 32.
All right. So now let's go ahead and rewrite it. And again, because 32 is our denominator, we don't really need to do anything here. Okay, so let's rewrite the problem with the same denominators down here, okay? So walk me through. What are you thinking?
So you have to subtract that,
Okay.
and that equals 8,
How do you know that equals 8?
because 16 plus 8 is 24.
Oh, very good.
30.
Okay. Well, it's not, it's obviously not, we don't need to change this to a mixed number, right?
No.
However, does 8 go into 32?
Yeah.
Can we simplify this?
Yeah.
Do you remember how I simplified the other?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you going to divide them both by?
4.
Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to ask you again. Can we continue to simplify? Does 2 go into 8?
Yeah.
So can I still divide them both by?
2.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's divide them both by 2. Are we done simplifying?
Yeah.
We are. So we know that our 24 over 32 subtract by 2 over 4 breaks down to 8 over 32, which is equivalent to 2/8, which is equivalent to
1 over 4.
1 over 4. Fractions are pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah.
They're not too scary, are they?
No.
No, they're not.
Well, that's all right, because guess what's coming up next? Multiplication.
Oh.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But Leonardo, for your great work so far this afternoon, you've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at the Broken Yoke Cafe. So congratulations on that. And you have not been there yet, right?
No.
Oh, I'll tell you, they've got some fine food over there. You go for breakfast or lunch, you're going to get a full belly just like the old man right here. There's going to be some good stuff. Maybe you go before you play soccer, get all full, get your energy, or maybe when you're done, you're tired out, you need to get
Yeah.
some fuel in, you go over to Broken Yoke, have some food over there. Anyway, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We do have another opportunity to head back out to the Mojave Air and Spaceport, visit with Mickey, and let's see what's going on out at Mojave.
All right, we're back out here at the Mojave Air and Spaceport. We just came down from the control tower way up there. We've got a great view of the runway and the whole entire area here at Mojave Air and Spaceport. But now we're down here at the fire station here at Mojave with Chief Farrar. Chief, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Thanks for having us down here. Now, just the first big thing I notice is, you know, people think fire station, fire department, they think big red truck, flashing lights. I'm not seeing that. Why a different type of vehicle out here at a airport and a spaceport?
That's a very good question. What we provide here is we are an ARF unit, so we're aircraft rescue and firefighting. And our trucks are a little bit different. Our trucks are not red, or some of them are red and black. Our trucks are this type of neon type green or greenish yellow so that they stand out. You have, we do operations daytime and nighttime. And with our lights, with the reflective striping on the trucks, and then with the truck's color, it makes it so that pilots, and also if we had mutual aid for outside responding units, they would be able to respond in, they would see our trucks and makes them much more visible. Our trucks are a little bit bigger than your regular fire trucks, and they sit a little bit higher up off the ground because all of our trucks have four-wheel capability, so they go both on the hard surface and they go off the hard surface to wherever your aircraft would end up resting at in the event of a crash or a mishap.
Okay. So, I mean, just, you know, an airport and a spaceport on its own is such a unique environment, and obviously you guys are unique firefighters. I mean, so what makes you stand out differently from a normal, I guess, a community-based fire department? What's different about your job here?
Well, what's different about your airport firefighters is we are all basic structural firefighters, like what you see in the city, but we have extra training that makes us unique in that we're airport firefighters. So a lot of the hazards we're going to deal with have to do with huge amounts of fuel and other oxidizing agents that will mix in with the fuel. This is a T3000 fire truck, Oshkosh. It carries 3,000 gallons of water. Your regular fire trucks, the city fire trucks, they carry about 1,000 to 1,500 gallons of water. Then they're going to hook up to a hydrant. We are on an airfield and we're going to go wherever the aircraft is. So we're going to carry 3,000 gallons of water. We have about 430 gallons of light water, which is our foam. The foam that we use looks exactly like when you're washing the dishes, the old-fashioned way. When you're washing the dishes and it foams up, that's what we combine with our light water, with our water, and it makes this foam, and that's what's going to put out a fuel fire, and it also gives us a nice foam blanket, which allows us to continue doing our firefighting operations and move about in all that fuel that's on the ground. And that makes us a little bit different than our regular city brothers. We have the same kind of gear, which is what I have out here. You'll recognize it, same type of gear, same boots, same turnout gear, same air packs, our BA packs, the same. The difference is the type of agents that we use because we're dealing mostly with fuel. And another thing is speed. We have a very short amount of time to get to an aircraft, knock down the fire, and then start doing rescue operations to protect the occupants of the aircraft.
Okay, so sounds like we've talked about the fire side of it. We're going to head back to the studio, but when we come back out here at the fire station out here at Mojave Air and Spaceport, we're going to take a look at how they would go about rescuing people inside of an aircraft and what tools they might need. Some you might recognize, some you might not. We'll see you back in the studio.
All right, looks pretty exciting. Thanks for that, Mick, and we will check in with those guys and see more of that equipment coming up. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 most Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We've got Marylou in studio with us, and also Leonardo, a 5th grade student from Highgate Elementary at the brand new school. Was at Buena Vista. You liked Buena Vista. You were fine there, but it's kind of exciting going to a new school.
Yeah.
So is there anything, are you involved in some other things at school besides just going to school? Because I know in 5th grade you get to do more things now, right?
Yeah.
So are there any of those things that you're taking part in or participating in?
Sometimes you do PE.
Okay. And you guys, I think like you have chorus and band.
Yeah.
And after-school sports and oral language festival and science fair and stuff like that. Do you do any of that kind of stuff yet?
No.
All right.
No, I do band and chorus
So you do band and chorus?
Yeah.
All right, so what do you play in band?
and flute.
Okay. And you like that pretty well?
Yeah.
Is this the first year you're starting that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought 5th grade was when you guys could start that, all right? You're a pretty good singer in chorus, too?
Yeah.
You sing a little song? No, I'm only kidding. You don't have to do that right now. You don't want to hear me sing either. So anyway, we're here to do some math. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, back over to the board. So you did some addition of fractions. You did some subtraction. Now we're moving on to what you will be moving into next, multiplication. All right? So here we go. 3/5, 3 over 5, times 1/3, 1 over 3. So explain to Mary Lou what you think you'll do, and Mary Lou will help you with it.
I think I would do is I would times the 3 and I would do 3 times 3 and then 5 times 1.
Okay, so you're saying that you want to cross, kind of
Yeah.
multiply the numbers. All right. How do you think multiplication is different than adding fractions? Because you've been talking about a common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Are those common denominators?
No.
Okay. So how do you think multiplying fractions is different than adding or subtracting fractions?
I don't know.
So what is multiplication? If you're multiplying normal numbers, what does that mean? Say that if we have just simply 2 multiplied by 3. We know that's 6, right?
Yeah.
But what is that really saying?
You add 2 3 times.
Exactly. I have 2 groups of
3.
3. Do you know that that's really the same thing here?
Yeah.
That is. Okay? It's really grouping it.
Yeah.
But unlike adding, so when we were adding, say that you have your 3/5 plus 1/3, automatically you know you got to change those denominators,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to do that with multiplication. With multiplication, you were right about multiplying, but we're not multiplying across this way. Guess which way we're going to multiply?
Straight.
You're multiplying numerators. And you're multiplying.
Denominators.
Do that for me.
So 3 times 1 is 3, and 5 times 3 is 15.
What do you think?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah?
good.
Now I'm going to ask you, again, simplifying. Ask ourselves, does 3 go into 15?
Yeah.
So can I divide both of those by 3?
Yeah.
Go for it. There you go. So what is your feeling of multiplying fractions versus adding fractions?
Multiplying is more easier.
Yeah, it's less steps, right?
Yeah.
So again, though, but all you did is give me 3 groups of 1, right?
Yeah.
And give me 5 groups of 3.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we have 3/5 multiplied by 1/3, which is going to give us 3/15.
Which we can simplify and we get 1 over 5.
Yeah, should we give them another one?
Indeed, I was anticipating you waiting for the next
All
one. Here we
right.
go. Erase the
Excellent.
board. 2/3, 2 over 3, times 1/2, 1 over 2. So you're on your own for this one.
So 2 times 1, 2, then 3 times 2 equals 6, which we can simplify by 2. Equals 1 over 3.
Okay, wrap it up for me. Explain what the problem was.
So 2 times 1, 2, and then 3 times 2 is 6. So there's another way, there's something common to 6. So we divided it by 2, and which we got 1/3.
There you go.
Okay, do me a favor, Leonardo. Underneath what you just did, write the problem again. So below it, write 2/3 times 1/2. Marylou, I'd like you to introduce young Leonardo to
Cross.
right.
Okay.
Show a little shortcut. Not that we want to stress a lot about it, but just show it to him right now.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
This kind of helps you not have to do this step here, okay?
Okay.
We're going to take this step here, and we're going to do it within the problem. Now, remember you were talking to me earlier that you thought we were going to cross multiply?
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to look at our cross numbers to see if we can simplify them.
Okay.
Can I simplify 2 and 2?
Yeah.
Yes, I can, because what am I going to divide them both by?
2.
Thank you. Do that for me. What's 2 divided by 2? So right here, let me kind of show you.
Oh.
Let's do it right here by the number. Do you see this?
Yeah.
So I'm going to erase this real quick. Okay.
1.
And then do this one for me. Go to divide this again. Now divide this by 2, which equals.
1.
So now what you're going to do is we're going to change this because we simplified these numbers. I'm going to change that to a 1, and I'm going to change that to a 1. So can we rewrite this as over here? Can you rewrite that as 1/3 multiplied by 1/1? And now solve it.
So 1/1, that equals 1.
Okay.
So put a 1.
Over what?
And over 1/3.
Okay, hold on.
Wait.
We have our 1 times 1,
Yeah.
which is.
Oh.
There you go. Let's try that again.
2.
Oh, think about it. What's 1
Oh,
times?
wait.
I know, we're still kind of in that adding, huh?
1.
So now I want you to look at this answer, and I want you to look at this answer.
They're the same.
They're the same. So there's 2 different ways to simplify. This is only with multiplication.
Yeah.
You can't do this with adding, okay? With multiplication. We could simplify at the end, or we could look at the problem before we start multiplying out, and we could think, hey, what crossways can we simplify down?
Okay.
Okay?
And that's
Which
just
way-
something for you to see right now, Leonardo. Not that
Yeah.
you have to understand all of that right now, but we'll
But-
do some more multiplication
yeah.
in a minute.
But between these, which one would you be more comfortable with simplifying?
Probably that one.
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
That makes life easier. Maybe we'll do that with the next problem. But right now, we do have another opportunity to head back out to Mojave and visit Mickey at the Air and Spaceport. Hey, Mick.
All right, welcome back out to the Mojave Air and Spaceport. We're back with Chief Farrar of the fire station out here at the Air and Spaceport. Now, Chief, we already talked about the differences in the engines you guys use and their capabilities and what's different about fighting an aircraft fire. Let's take a look at the tools here that you guys would use during a rescue or during a sort of emergency scenario. Are there any that are similar to, I guess, a quote-unquote city firefighter versus aircraft structure fires? What do we have?
That's a very good question. It's actually a good comparison. I'm going to be assisted in showing off the tools that we have. This is our rescue truck. I'm going to be assisted by my crew. This is firefighter Vasquez and firefighter Cueto. They're going to help me demonstrate and show some of these tools. We carry all of our tools on our rescue truck. Some of this equipment will be on our fire trucks. They have a large compartment space. This is a ram that we use to do lifting and for forceful entry for things like a car wreck. You can push off the top of a car, push up a dashboard, or push a seat back under pressure from the hydraulic unit. Also down here, he has things a little bit more familiar to you, which is the spreaders and the cutters. Our tools are, it's like a combi tool where you can change the head and connect your spreaders to your cutters. These are the same things that our structural firefighting brothers have. We adapt the structural equipment to use it in the ARF. Aircraft skins are a little bit different. They're a little bit different than cars, so we have to do specialized training so that we're familiar with it. Here's other tools that you'll see are hand tools, forcible entry tools, which are very common, the Halligan tool and an axe that we use for both aircraft and for vehicle extrication. Then we also have here one of our powered circular saws, or rescue saws. You'll see that it's very common among the structural fire department, and it's common with ARF units. This is one of the mainstays that we use to cut into the skin of an aircraft, because it lets us cut, the skins are very thin, lets us cut in and make the cuts that we need to make to remove panels and be able to provide an escape route for trapped personnel. Then you'll recognize the saws. Those are also used in aircraft rescue and firefighting, just like with the structural crews, to cut down things like we may have trees, or we may need to make cribbing when we do aircraft lifts and such. Now we're going to be assisted by firefighter Cueto. He's going to show you some of the other hand tools that we have that we use as common to the structural firefighting, and we have adapted the same equipment to use for our aircraft firefighting. And these are, what was this one called? I can't remember. Sawzall.
So every extrication may depend on the situation of the emergency. It may be basic or advanced extrication methods. Some may provide hand drills to remove bolts, whatever essentially the emergency consists of. We have additional battery packs, additional saws for whatever we may need. Obviously, we try to keep it basic before we jump into advanced. If we have a medical emergency, we would jump to our med bag. It's consisted of an AED for cardiac arrest or cardiac emergencies. If we jump inside, we have bandaging, oxygen therapy treatment. We consist of non-rebreather mask, BVMs. We have BVM right here. We have a D-tank. It's composed of 2,200 PSI, averagely lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. We have saline to irrigate wounds. We have blood pressure cuffs to obtain vital signs, which is very important because you want to know what your patient's body is doing. We have C-collars for stabilizing the cervical spine in case they are injured. Roller bandage. Let's see, shears to remove any clothing to access the patient more. Anything to basic band-aids. So whatever their medical emergency consists of, this bag will take care of. And that covers our medical bag for the rescue, sir.
Chief, so it sounds like you guys not only fight the fires, but also, you know, just like a city firefighter, you're there to also treat patients, whoever needs the help during the emergency, because there are people inside the aircraft or wherever the emergency is. You know, there's more to it than just putting out the fire. Still remembering that there are still people involved in attending to what they need. Is that right?
Yes, we are all first responders. We are first responder qualified. Both my firefighters are both also EMTs. The only thing that we do not do is transport victims. That's things that we have mutual aid agreements, where we have Hall's ambulance that people have seen in the local area that would actually do the further care for a patient and then make that transport to the hospital.
Okay.
Our job is to initially get that response. We're required to be able to respond on this airfield in 3 minutes to any type of incident with an aircraft, but we also respond to vehicle accidents. We respond to structural fires, hangar fires. We respond to all the same things that our structural brothers respond to.
That's amazing. Chief, thanks so much for having us out here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure being out here, seeing everything you guys do, and realize there's more to an airport than just getting the airplanes off the ground and bringing them back again. So thank you so much. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio. Hopefully we'll see you back out here soon.
All right, thanks, Mick, and thank everybody out at the Mojave Air and Spaceport. And yeah, we think about, you know, getting planes off the ground and back on the ground. That's a big thing. But there is a lot more detail and other activities going on, especially at a spaceport that we have right here in Kern County. And this is only week 1 of 3 weeks, because there is so much going on out at the Mojave Air and Spaceport. We need to do 3 weeks of these guys. So more to look forward to in the coming weeks with Mojave Air and Spaceport, and maybe even a little something extra today. But before we do all of that, a reminder that we do have phone tutors available most Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 3:30 and 5:30. The phone numbers are at the bottom of your screen periodically throughout the program. If you're not able to phone in, you can also email us a question, and the online site is at the bottom of your screen also. And Brianna is a student from Downtown Elementary. And Brianna, we didn't have enough time to get you on air right now, but we're going to do your problem. And because you phoned in today and we're doing your problem, we're also going to be awarding you a meal at the Broken Yoke Cafe, so congratulations on that. But Mary Lou, let's take a look at that problem and go ahead and tackle it right now.
Okay, so the problem, Brianna, that you had phoned in was 18 and 2/10 divided by J equals 4/16. So it's a proportional problem. When we do proportional problems and we're trying to find the missing number here it's the denominator. I want to make this simple because I don't want to be dealing with large numbers. So I'm going to go to my fraction that I'm seeing, and 4/16, that can be simplified down. So I know that I can divide both of these by 4 because 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into 16, and I can simplify that down to 1/4. So I'm going to make it easier for myself so I don't have to deal with those big numbers. So I'm going to rewrite this 18 and 2/10 over J equals 1/4. And we know with proportions they're going to be equal. So I know that 1 times 18.2 equals 18.2. So here I know that I need to multiply 4 times 18 and 2/10. So again, if we have 1 multiplied by 18 and 2/10, I have 18 and 2/10. So here let's multiply that out. And remember, when multiplying with decimals, we don't need to worry about lining up like we do with adding. So we have 4 multiplied by 2, which gives us 8. 4 multiplied by 8, we know from Leonardo earlier, that's 32. Oops, let's put a 2 there and a 3 here. And 4 multiplied by 1 plus 3 is 7. We know we have one number behind the decimal. We're going to move that over, and I'm going to rewrite that a little bit better. So that is 72 and 8/10. So we have our proportions here, so we know that J is therefore going to equal 72 and 8/10. And I know that there's other ways to solve this proportion. Some students might want to do a cross multiply method, and then they would divide it by 4 to get their J. Again, whichever way you find easier, I always like to kind of multiply it out because remember, proportions, they're just 2 equal fractions. And there you go, Brianna. Again, our missing variable is 72 and 8/10.
All right, nicely done. You ever seen anything like that, Leonardo?
No.
Well, guess what? You're going to next year because I know that's the 6th grade standard, doing proportions and things like that. But as promised, little bonus content on the road again to Mojave Air and Spaceport. So much great content, as I said. We've even got a couple more weeks coming up. But the fire chief, Mickey and those guys, they got more equipment out. And this is a little bonus for you this afternoon. More Math in the Real World Extra.
All right, for all of you still joining us here with our bonus content footage, we're still here with Chief Farrar, and because we heard there were some other tools that we didn't get to see initially. Now, Chief, what am I looking at here? Is this a speed gun? Is this make you a special superhero as like the Predator? Maybe not a superhero, but what do we have here? What's going on?
Well, actually, that's a good comparison to the Predator. This is a thermal imaging camera. Firemen call it a TIC for short, and what it does is we can find the seat of a fire if we go inside of any kind of compartment, be it an aircraft or a building, and it will show us where the seat of the fire is. Now, also, we will use a thermal imaging camera to find a victim if a person was down inside of a building or inside of an aircraft, or even outside and had been ejected from an aircraft. We'll walk around in the dark or in the daytime, and anywhere you point it, it's going to give you the contrast of the background to anything that's alive giving off, or anything that's like fire just giving off a heat signature. And if I point it on you, it changes from what the background is because it's picking up your thermal heat. And it will do the same thing with the fire. Even if you had a match and we were 50 feet away from it, it would pick up that, you would have that glow, just like the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So this is a major piece of equipment that we use, and our brothers, structural firefighters, use the same. Now, another piece of equipment that we use is what we call a wheel fan, but a structural firefighter, they would call this a smoke ejector. And what we do is we use this to remove hot gases and smoke outside of an aircraft body or outside of a building so that we can see the more the smoke and hot gases that you remove, the better your vision is. Also, if a person's inside of a smoking room or inside of a smoking building or an aircraft, if the quicker that you can get those hot gases and toxic gases out, the more chance of survival that they have. We have a window of about 3 minutes to try to make a rescue to save a person. And with that saying that, before we would go into one of these hazardous environments, I mentioned before that we have our SCBAs, our air packs that we wear. When we make entry, that allows us to be able to go into a hazardous environment without severe risk to ourselves, to be able to do a rescue, get a person out, and get them to regular breathing air where they have a better chance of survival. So we have some unique tools that allows us to make that entry or to make that rescue of a person, no matter where they are, whether in a trapped vehicle, inside of a trapped aircraft, or inside of one of these hangars, and they're trapped inside. We have the ability to get there, make entry, go in, use our thermal imaging camera to find that person regardless of the atmosphere, and be able to make that rescue. The SCBA also gives us the ability to go into atmospheres where you have a lot of the aircraft are made of carbon fibers. In the old days, your aircraft were made of aluminum, and the aircraft bodies started changing as time went. Well, now we have these carbon fibers. And when they burn, the carbon fibers breaks up, it's like fiberglass.
Okay.
And if you breathe that stuff into your body, it doesn't come out of your body. It's permanently in there, and it does a lot of damage to you. So we use our SCBAs, our breathing masks, and we're able to go into those atmospheres, and we're protected as long as we're making sure we stay outside what we call the IDLH, that we stay outside of that zone before we make that entry. There's a lot of problems associated with firefighters' health because in the old days, we didn't know that we have to protect ourselves from the things like fuel fumes, gasoline fumes, toxic fumes. We did not have understanding, but we have that now.
Perfect. Yeah, your safety, yeah, because if you're not safe, we can't make sure anyone else is safe.
Exactly.
Definitely want to make sure you guys are safe and healthy to be able to go in and help those who can't help themselves. So hopefully you guys like this bonus content footage. You know, we were pretty surprised when we found out there were more tools we didn't get to see. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Chief Farrar, thanks again for having us out here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see what other bonus footage we can find around the air and spaceport here in Mojave.
There we go. Usually we have to wait for Facebook for that bonus coverage right there, but we were fortunate enough today to be able to put it in today's program. Once again, a special thanks to Chief Farrar, and those guys had a lot of information out there. And as I said, we've got a couple more weeks worth of content that we'll be showing you here on Do the Math. In studio, we had Leonardo, a 5th grade student from Highgate Elementary. Did you learn a little something today?
Yeah.
Good. Did you have fun today?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
What?
You're now an ambassador for Do the Math. Do you have any idea what that means?
No.
All right. Well, young man, turn around this way. As an ambassador for Do the Math, you get an official uniform. This is your official uniform now. Are you comfortable with this?
Yeah.
All right, good. That's what I wanted to hear. So as an ambassador, do you know what your duties involve now?
Huh?
Do you know what you have to do as an ambassador?
No.
When you wear this shirt, you have to tell other kids and people about Do the Math. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Easy enough, isn't it? All right. Hey, 636-4357 is the phone number. Phone tutors until 5:30. Until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.